Hello guys and welcome back to Planet 40k and our countdown to Christmas. I've not got the woolly hat on today, it's not as cold today, oddly. But hey, we're going to press on and we're doing a unit comparison video today. We're going to be looking at the Technomancer with the Canoptek Wraiths versus the Broodlord with the Genestealers. So that's what we're going to be doing for the 22nd of December. We're going to be going through all the bits and bobs that can compare them both together. This time we've got a leader in the unit, so it's slightly different I suppose. Slightly different. Just remember guys, if you have yet to subscribe to the channel, please do so down below. It does me a huge favour for growing the channel and so on. Right, let's get on with these units. So if you were to take a unit of 6 Canoptek Wraiths, which is a max unit, and you were to add a Technomancer in the mix without an enhancement, it'll come to 280 points. Now if you were to take a Broodlord with a 10-man unit of Genestealers, that will come to 260 points, so 20 points less. Now I originally actually already did map this entire video out, and I did it pre-codex and I had the Technomancer with the Lich Guard, which is why I've left this one so late, because obviously you can't have a Technomancer with Lich Guard anymore. It's now changed to Wraith, so I had to redo this entire video on the fly. Not a problem, it's fine, that's YouTube, right? But we're going to get onto this video today. We've got a 20 points difference. I think that's fine, I think that's okay, considering this is last minute. So let's first begin with the statistics, and we're going to start off with the 2 bodyguard units, so the Canoptek Wraiths and the Genestealers. That's what we're going to compare to begin. So the Wraiths are moving 10 inches, the Genestealers are moving 8 inches. Not much difference there. I mean, the Wraiths are faster, obviously, but there's not much in it, only 2 inches. Toughness 6 for the Wraiths, toughness 4 for the Genestealers. That is a big deal. Toughness 6 is a pretty big deal. It means all the standard bolt gun kind of weapons, strength 4, strength 5 even, would need 5s to wound. Save of a 3+ with a 4+ invulnerable save for the Wraiths. The Genestealers do have a 5+ invulnerable save, but their standard save is also a 5+. Necrons are better there. Leadership 8 for the Wraiths versus Leadership 7 with the Genestealers, so they are better. And of course they've got Synapse, don't forget. OC 2 with the Wraiths, OC 1 with the Genestealers. So the OC for the Wraiths is 2, and of course if there's a 6-man unit that will be 6 times 2, which is 12, whereas a 10-man unit of Genestealers only gets up to 10 OC as a maximum. So they also win on the OC front as well. So as far as the bodyguard units, the Wraiths are better statistically. As for the 2 leaders, the Technomancer is moving 10 inches as well, the Broodlord's only moving 8. Kind of have to match the unit of course. Toughness 4 for the Technomancer, toughness 5 for the Broodlord. However, don't forget you're going to be using the bodyguard's toughness value, which actually helps the Technomancer in this case. That's really weird. Doesn't normally go that way around, does it? It's normally the other way around, like when you've got the Hive Tyrant with the Tyrant Guard, it normally goes backwards. We've then got a 4+ save for both the models, except there's an invulnerable save for the Broodlord, no invulnerable save for the Technomancer, 4 wounds for the Technomancer, 6 wounds for the Broodlord. Nice. Better leadership of a 6+, which will actually convert for the entire unit, versus leadership 7 on the Broodlord, which matches the Genestealers, and OC 1 apiece. I think because there's a lack of an invuln save and there's 2 more wounds for the Broodlord, I would give it to the Broodlord in that case, as far as the leaders are concerned. Now, as for the abilities, let's start with the bodyguard units again. Reanimation protocols, we don't need to go into that, but you know what it is by now. Wraith form though is each time this unit ends a normal move, you can select one enemy unit that it moved over during that move, roll a d6 for each model in the unit, and on a 4+, that enemy unit suffers a mortal wound. So if these Canoptek Wraiths flew or make a normal move over your Genestealers perhaps, a 10-man unit, that would be 10 dice, and on average you're going to get 5 mortal wounds. That can be actually quite brutal. Now the Genestealers have got Scout 8 inches, which makes them nice. It's not quite Infiltrators, but it's not far off. You've also got Synapse, of course, and Vanguard Predators, so you get to reroll your hit rolls of a 1, and if you're fighting against a unit on an objective, you're rerolling wound rolls of a 1 instead, so very similar to Necron Immortals in that respect. Now, I prefer... I'm a bit torn on this one, because when I was reading out the Wraith form ability, it kind of hit me like going up against a Horde unit, a 20-man warrior unit as an example, Necron Warriors, that's on average 10 mortal wounds, just like that. That's brutal. That's brutal. But you have to ask yourself, how often does that come up? Does it come up a lot? I mean, for me, I've not had enough experience with the Codex with Wraiths. I've had a few games already, but I didn't really get a chance to use the Wraith form ability. I mean, I was playing against Chaos Demons, so it's when you're flying over a Bloodthirster, it's not quite the same thing. But I can imagine against some factions and some lists that is nasty. But I think I just like the reliability of just being able to re-roll stuff, re-rolling ones. And they're already hitting on twos, which we're going to see in a moment. So they're basically getting all their attacks through. So I'm going to give it to the Genestealers in this one. But probably should look at the Wraiths more on that. I really should. Now the leaders also have their own unique abilities to add to the unit. You've got Rites of Reanimation. So your entire unit gets a 5+ Feel No Pain save, which is the #1 reason you take a Technomancer and apply it to the Wraiths. Don't forget they had 4 wounds with a 4+ armor, a 4+ invulnerable save, toughness 6. Now you're adding a 5+ Feel No Pain save for 60 points. That's crazy. That's crazy. The Technomancer ability, you get to heal a model D3 lost wounds. That's within 3 inches. It could just be your own Wraith unit. So that's after reanimation protocols, because that's the command phase. This is the movement phase. So it's like an extra reanimation rule, really. You can't be bringing back a model, it's just the healing of a model though. Now the Broodlord has Scout 8 inch, of course it has to synergize with the Genestealers, otherwise he'll be left on his own, wouldn't he? That'd be weird. He's got 2 abilities. First of all, giving the unit devastating wounds, which I think is why the Vanguard Predator ability that the Genestealers had is so key, because if you're getting so many hits to go through, then you've got more chance of doing devastating wounds for the entire unit as well. And Hypnotic Gaze, which is a psychic attack, or a psychic ability in the fight phase, it's a -1 to hit for the enemy units. So if they were fighting each other perhaps, a -1 to hit could be quite nasty. All in all, I think I've got to give it to... this one's tough because I really do value dev wounds, but the 5+ Feel No Pain save, you're literally just wiping out 1/3 of the damage every single time. I think that's more important to me. Dev wounds is only on a 6+, so that's 1/6 of the wounds going through, whereas a 5+ is on a, it's 1/3. I think that's better. Let's get on to the weaponry. So we're going to start us off with the bodyguard units again. Don't forget the Genestealers are re-rolling 1s, because that's their ability. I'm not going to re-roll wound rolls of a 1 as well in this, because we can't guarantee that an enemy unit's on an objective, but we can guarantee that you get your hit rolls of a 1 re-rolled. So let's go through the weaponry first. We've got the Canoptek Wraiths have got the 2 ranged attacks. Particle casters with dead wounds and pistol. 3 attacks each, hit on 4, strength 5, no OP, 1 damage. I prefer this weapon out of the 2. But the other one is the Dimensional Beamer, Transdimensional Beamer. Also 12-inch range, only 1 shot each. Hit on 4, strength 4, -2 OP, 3 damage. The damage is nice. You're only hitting on 4s. And it's only strength 4, whereas the caster has dev wounds and can be shot in engagement range, which is why I prefer it. And you get 3 shots per model as well, which would mean 18 shots for the entire unit in engagement range. Now that's not what we're really here to talk about. We already know the Wraiths have 1 in terms of range weapons, because the Genestealers and Broodlord don't have anything. So they get a point for that. But on the melee side, you've got the Vicious Claws. 4 attacks per model. Hit on 4, strength 6, -1 AP, and 2 damage. So a nice marine killer, you're winning on 3s, damage 2 is all you need. If you wanted to go more anti-light infantry, such as going against Gaunts, you get your whip coils out, which are 8 attacks per model. So that's 48 attacks for the unit of 6 there. Hit on 4s is now strength 5, it went up from strength 4 to strength 5. No AP, 1 damage. Now the Genestealers, they've got the Genestealer Claws and Talons, 4 attacks per model, so that'd be 40 attacks. Hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1, so you're getting almost all your attacks through. Strength 4 lets it down slightly, but -2 AP is nice, 1 damage. So what I've done here is I've showed you the figures of what all these weapons can do to these 5 examples here. So I've got Gaunts, Marines, Terminators, Toughness 7, Toughness 12 as examples. So the Vicious Claws are doing 8.3 against Gaunts, basic killing 8 Gaunts. Killing 4 Space Marines, killing 1 Terminator, doing 4 damage on Toughness 7 vehicles and monsters, and 2 damage on Toughness 12. Now the Whip Coils are obviously going to be better against Hordes, so 10.7. Space Marines, it's also doing 5. It's actually doing alright, I expected that number to be slightly less than the Vicious Claws. Terminators is only killing half a Terminator, 3 damage on Toughness 7 and 1 damage on Toughness 12. So of course, the higher the toughness, the weaker this weapon gets. Now let's look at the Genestealer side, because the Genestealer side is kind of mayhem. Going up against their own, going up against Gaunts, they're killing 26 of them. Don't forget, they got 40 attacks, hit on 2s, re-rolling. These things kill, they're wounded on 3s, -2 AP, puts them on no save, 26 of them go. Space Marines, they're killing 7, just killing 7 straight up. Terminators, 2. Toughness 7, they're doing 11 damage. Now Terminators, you would expect to be less, but they've got a 2+ armor, don't forget. And the 4+ invulnerable. And Toughness 12 is 7 damage, so pretty much in every single example I've given you there out of the 5, the Genestealer Claws and Talons are better. Doesn't matter what option you take with the Canoptek Wraiths in melee, they will beat it. Now, of course, this isn't going to add the fact that we've got a ranged weapon in there, so you kind of have to add that in. But yeah, in terms of melee attacks, the Genestealers absolutely slap. In fact, before we go into some key synergy, I wanted to mention the Epic Challenge stratagem because there's a Broodlord involved. Not so much for the Technomancer because he's not that great in combat. We didn't really go through the Broodlord's melee output, but you've got the Epic Challenge to be able to kill that Technomancer to take away that 5+ Feel No Pain save. But the key synergy I'm going to talk about today is the key detachment, Vanguard Onslaught. I'm not going to go through all the other ones. Vanguard Onslaught I think is the one to go to. They can advance and charge with this detachment. There's a stratagem to force battle shock, and if they fail it, it's a +1 to wound the unit. You've got another one where you can move 6 inches if any opposing units get within 9. You've got Assassin Beast to give the entire unit precision, so you won't even need to use Epic Challenge because the entire unit can just deal with it. But as mentioned, you could just use Epic Challenge on the Broodlord. Now, Necron side, you've got the Canoptek Core. That's the one to go to because you've got a Cryptek and the Canoptek keyword. You've got 2 keywords. They're going to be able to reroll ones to hit naturally. Maybe all the rerolls if they're within the power matrix. The Technomancer could be given the unit Infiltrators with an enhancement. Maybe rerolls to wound of a 1 if they've got another enhancement, a different enhancement there. You can add Devastating Wounds to the unit with a stratagem which will actually match the Genestealers. There's another one to do the same thing that the Genestealers could do where you can move 6 inches if you get within 9. You've got the Counter-Temporal Shift, so they can't be targetable at range unless you're within 12 inches, which I think is quite good against a lot of factions. Imagine going up against Tau and things like that, they just can't shoot them. And there's a stratagem to do reanimation protocols if you charge them, which I think is also quite cool. But all in all, to summarise this, the Wraiths have got the better stats, the Genestealers have got the better leader. In terms of like the damage output, obviously not in terms of abilities, because I think the Technomancer's ability is key. Genestealers do have the better ability, I think, although that Canoptek Wraith ability, Wraith form, is quite brutal. The Genestealers have got the better damage output overall, with their Genestealer Claws and Talons are just nasty. They're ripping through everything they can get hold of. But I am going to score this one to the Necron side, and I'll explain why. It's all about the durability. It's simply due to the durability. You've got Toughness 6 with a 3+ armor, you've got 4+ invulnerable save, you then got a 5+ Feel No Pain save, there's 4 wounds a model now, it used to only be 3. All of that combined is absolute madness. You literally need Strength 6 weapons and onwards, because Strength 5, Strength 4, even Strength 3, you need 5s to wound. So you're going to have to burn your better weapons within your list, which may be limited to your list, and they're normally used for, you know, the elite infantry and beyond. Now, I don't think people have quite grasped that Canoptek Wraiths have jumped into that sort of very elite territory. They used to just sort of be standard elites. They don't do a lot of damage, but they were just quick and grabbing objectives. Now, with all this durability, I think they've become more of a higher up elite unit, almost monster level in a way, because of all the crazy Feel No Pains and stuff. So that's why I've got to score this one today for the Canoptek Wraiths. So guys, I will see you tomorrow on the 23rd. See you then.